Good afternoon. Welcome to the World Under-24s Ultimate Championships. I'm here in beautiful Perth. We are about to get a cracking game underway. We've got Australian mixed team known as the Blue Bottles playing Great Britain mixed, and it's going to be a real nail biter. These are the pre-quarterfinals. I'm Steph Ma, and also joining me in the commentary in the box up here, we've got Max Stenstrom and Katie Locke. I'd love to cross over to you guys now.
Thanks very much for that, Steph. As you said, it's going to be a crack of a match and a nail-biter for these teams. The winner of this game is going to go through and play the winner of another crossover game against Japan and Germany. So an exciting game regardless of the outcome. We can see the Aussies on screen now amping up with a cheer, getting them ready for the game.
That's absolutely right, Katie. Settle back, enjoy this game. It's the Frisbee Ashes. GB looking to win one Ashes this summer. I know that both teams are absolutely raring to go. This is the quarterfinal of a World Championships. It doesn't get much more exciting than that. This game determines the difference between a gold medal and coming 8th. They're playing for everything here. The stakes are high. We've got a bit of a breeze coming left to right on your screen. It's been there all day long. All week long, really, and these teams have had plenty of time to adapt.
Australia are starting out on defense, getting adjusted to the wind. Apologies, that is Great Britain starting on defense. They'll be pulling upwind. It'll be tough to get this pull past the brick mark, but off we go. And the pull lands out of bounds. The breeze coming towards us, just pushing it to the far side of the field.
When the disc lands out on the full, the team is able to take the option of calling a brick, which means bringing the disc in the center of the field, or they can take it where it crossed the line.
We have Mayola slowly walking the disc up to the brick mark. She's the only player on this team hailing from the state of South Australia. She looks at the early option, considers, fakes, trying to find that dump. She dumps off to Trong. Huge layout bid there from the GB player. Vino unable to reel that one in.
And now GB will get their first opportunity for a break. In this very first point, the disc will be picked up by Alexis Long, this captain of this GB outfit, and immediately he'll reach deep. He's got McDonald underneath it. Can he reel it in? But there's too much juice on that throw, and it will sail out the back of the end zone.
We're seeing a lot of unpredictable hucks going up this week. The wind is just pushing them in ways the players are not expecting. We have Trong slowly walking the disc up to the front of the end zone, getting ready for another chance for Australia to score. Get an early cut there. Lots of action, lots of cuts, and we get a long option. That is an excellent, it's sitting, it's floating, it's going very high, and it goes out of bounds. The Fremantle doctor said, none of that for you. No doses of disc this afternoon.
Indeed. This wind has been causing havoc all week long. And really this tournament has been a test of which team can adapt to it the best, which team has the technical throwing skills to throw through it, the receivers able to read the bobbling disc, and the teams most willing to continue working despite the frustration. As Long picks it up again, immediately goes underneath to Turton. Between Turton and Long, there are 4 or 5 World Championships. This is a very experienced GB lineup. Turton playing in 2016 at the World Ultimate and Guts Championships in London with the women's side, so bringing that experience of the senior division to this age group bracket. But unfortunately, that one slips through the hands, and Australia will play offense.
Mayola picking up the disc again. She will not get this one downwind early. She swings, Trong. Gets a couple of options. He thinks about it and he sends it. He's got the huge double under deep, but he can't reel it in. Looks like there's a little bit of contact. Hands shaken though. He recognises that he didn't have a take on that disc. It's just pushed too far for him.
Yeah, Duncan Webster doing a good job of being in the region and putting plenty of pressure on Michael Vernon. Webster been playing the crucial big man role for GB, but you can see he is towered over by the tall timbers of Michael Vernon. Measuring in, listed at 6 foot, 7.5 inches. He's a mountain of a man, and GB will have to contend with him if they want to play the sky ball, jump ball game. As they now hit McDonald underneath. He looks up line. And he launches, looking for Webster, puts it out in front. Looks like Webster will hold that in nice and easy, and that will be exactly how they want to deal with the tall timbers of Michael Vernon. If you put it out in front, doesn't matter how tall the defender is, your offensive player can catch it on the chest.
Australia being punished for a couple of errors there, and Great Britain getting the early upwind break.
That will open the GB account. That'll be 1-0. That'll be how they wanted to start this game. So often in these conditions, an upwind break can quickly lead to a downwind one. And the GB team will want to regroup and go again. They have 3 distinct lines that they will be fielding this game. And speaking to their coach before this match, while they're generally speaking an O, a D and a swing line, he said they're very willing to adapt depending on what's working and what's not. And play the players that are getting the job done and can fulfill the role that is needed by their team.
Australia get another crack on offense, this time coming upwind. And they get a huge pull out from Great Britain. That is soaring very high. It's going to have a bit of a bounce and roll. Australia look to centre it. Robertson with the disc. She dumps off. The Great Britain have put on a zone here. Found an early gap in it though. Vino. Oh. We have Francis unable to reel that disc in. Great Britain getting a chance to set up on the far sideline.
And Hodgett will bring it back in, another experienced player competing with the GB under-24s team in 2015 in London. And he brings that experience to pilot this D-line as they'll head downwind. And we've got a foul call on the mark. It appears that there may have been a bit of contact with Vino, but it'll be resolved quickly and brought back in. And GB shoots long, but it blades in this wind into the turf, unable to reach the hands of Rachel Lee.
Murray definitely had the body position to prevent Lee even getting a chance on that. Just definitely curving and sitting a lot lower than GB thrower would have expected. Australia on this close sideline, looking to move it up. Handler indicating to his players he needs to get it off. Over to Wee, the captain. Brings some calm and patience to the offense. He's looking for that dump swing. Oh, and a huge layup in from GB there. This is going to be risky for Australia.
Tom Hodgett goes sideways, incredible reflexes and athleticism to get his hand out to that one. Pushing it into the turf in the end zone. Gives GB a prime opportunity to complete this goal as he breaks the mark through some contact and will call a foul. It seems there will be a discussion though. On my initial view, it did look like there was some contact on the throwing motion. Of course, as the rule states, any contact initiated by the defender is a foul. As we hear now as Ruben Berg, the game advisor, walks over.
Uncontested foul?
I do know what you mean. I completely appreciate what you mean.
Thanks, Ruben, for that audio insight.
And now Hodgett with the disc, with an opportunity, and he takes it. And GB will celebrate as they find Bilby in the front of the end zone, and they jump out to a 2-0 lead.
And rightly so that they're celebrating. GB have just gotten 2 breaks in a row in this fierce wind, punishing the Australians' mistakes. They're having a bit of a clap to celebrate. The Australians jog up to the line, listening to Anson Chun calling the line.
We might take this opportunity to go to the game advisor, Ruben Berg, for a little bit of clarification on what that call was and the different perspectives involved.
Yeah, so it just seemed there was a call there. The players were able to resolve that fully by themselves. This is what we like. I'll just try and get that out there as quick as I can so you can hear what's going on, hopefully. But it's always great when the players can resolve it with themselves. If they need to, they can ask the game advisors for some clarification around the rules or to provide perspective. But most of the time for me, it's just about coming out there and reminding them that they have a responsibility to try and resolve things as quickly as they can. Make sure everyone is heard, and hopefully you can wrap it up pretty quickly.
Thanks, Ruben. The game advisor's doing a brilliant job this week, not only on this showcase field, but all across the tournament. And we really want to thank them for all their long hours in the sun, helping the spirit of the game be preserved and respected.
And that just lands just over the halfway mark. Trying to pick up, looking for the early option. Swings to Mayola. She considers her options. She goes to the safe swing. And we get a huge hop off. Got Suzuki on the end of that. Oh, and her hands are so swift there. She reels that one in. Dumps off to Trong. Safe option. Oh, that is a spicy throw and just as spicy a receive. The tall legs of Vernon, Michael Vernon, the man, the legend himself. He has such a height advantage on that.
That's right. It's a difficult shot in these conditions, and I'm sure GB, in principle, will be happy with Australia taking them as we have another look at that initial huck to Suzuki. 1, 2, 3 bubbles in the catch. Setting up a lovely hammer over the top to their big man, who does what he was picked for, and that's rule the skies and pull that one in.
And that early grab from Suzuki also shows the testament of the saying that never gets old, catch your Ds. The defensive player getting a great hand on that, making it very difficult for Suzuki to catch, but she still gets there at the end of the day. Very safe hands.
Indeed, Katie, indeed. And with that, Australia have opened their account. The score now 2-1. GB will look to hold their downwind offense. This will be the first time we've seen what I believe will be their swing line on the field as Francois sends the pull to the opposite end.
That is a beautiful pull.
It is indeed. As Rebecca Palmer will look to steer this offense downfield. She'll be joined behind the disc by Boxall, who actually went to school with another one of the players on this British team, Fraser McDonald. They went to high school together and are now representing their country together. Quite an opportunity as Tan finds the disc on the sideline. Australia just playing match defense.
A little bit of a different look on the match defense here from Australia. I think they may even have a player poaching in the lane, but there's been a pick called, potentially by the loose player, causing some havoc.
And the disc will come back, and it'll be with Andrew Boxall. And the disc will be brought back in, and immediately the inside forehand. That's a lovely shot in this wind. It sits up a little bit, but brought down well by Gilman. Gilman actually dislocated his thumb in the second game that GB played this week, and has now relocated it and is back on the field. But that's a great D by Rob de Hollander.
Just testament to his great skills, great defensive read, and why he was the AFDA's Male Player of the Year for 2017. Robertson with the disc, high 31, safe in the hands of Murray. Australia trying to move through this Great Britain zone. Great Britain switching on early to a zone defense on the turn. France. Over to McDonald, back to France. Those two boys working together, moving the disc swiftly. Oh, and a great D-read from the Great Britain player. That was Devon.
Daffin, one of the captains of this GB team, had a hamstring injury coming into this tournament, but she hasn't slowed down a bit as she reels that one in, and it's a goal. And GB, steady as a rock, 3-1. I'd like to thank everyone who's joining us on the stream for their company throughout this game. If you have any questions or requests for people to talk to, please get on there. It's being monitored by Steph Ma, who will do her best to read them and answer anything she can. Should also take this opportunity to thank the Spudshed Fresh Food Market for all their support of this tournament this week. A big thank you to the Galati brothers They've been donating fresh bananas, apples, pears and oranges for all the volunteer workforce at this tournament. I know I've availed myself of the fruit a number of times. I had a pear earlier today and it was delicious. So if you're a WA local, head on down if you can.
Definitely. I had myself a yummy Granny Smith apple earlier. Super refreshing for some commentating. And we have a very high floaty pull coming up from GB. But that's going to drop safely into the hands of Trong. Gave plenty of time for the GB zone to set up though. Trong looks at his options. Dumps off to Francis. Finds Vino through a hole in the wall. Working with Mayolo, Trong. Key combination in this O-line here for Australia. Oh, and that's a big bid. Safe in the hands of Francis, and he sends it! He sends it! He's got Vernon deep! Oh, great receiving there. He made it look so easy. Oh, and an inside throw. Australia puts another $1 in their bank account. They're going to grow those Dolomites very quickly.
So that takes it to 3-2. The Australians steadying their ship. GB able to get that early break out of the gates. And now both teams punching in the downwinders. It's these upwinders that are absolutely crucial.
Let's get a replay of that throw there. Oh, that is a huge throw there. Vernon just receiving it with such ease. He had so much separation from his defender. Long legs moving fast. There's the inside throw. Oh, nice, safe clap catch. The wind definitely hasn't died down a little today. It's making conditions very difficult for both teams in all divisions.
It is indeed. It is indeed. We've seen a number of very close matches, all of which the wind has played a part in throughout today and earlier this week. I was speaking to some of the GB coaching staff before this match and asked them what they were expecting from the Aussies. And they said, as we saw in that last point, they expected the Australians to isolate their big men in space, which is exactly what happened there with Vernon. As the Australian zone forces a tricky blade from Boxall and it doesn't complete.
We have Robertson pick up. She gets the early swing off to Wee. Spirit Captain working nicely together in this defensive handler combination, or swing handler combination. It's been a couple of lines on the defensive team. Oh, and that is a great leading pass for Australia. An early break for them. Equalise the scores. And look at that energy on the field. They are ecstatic.
Incredible effort from them, pouncing up on the opportunity given to them by the short field turnover. It really was a lovely inside backhand from Francis to Wee for that goal, displaying his finesse in these tricky conditions, getting that to sit perfectly for the quick Wee, who was able to run it down. And we see it again here. The lefty, low release. Francis, actually, in fact, ambidextrous with his throwing. For the first 18 months of playing Frisbee, he was throwing with his left hand, as you saw him throw there. And then on advice from one of the Australian Goannas coaches, he switched to his right. We might take this opportunity to head down to Ruben Berg, who has a few more words for us from the sideline.
Yeah, we can see here both teams taking advantage of the new gender ratio rule here in the mix. So being able to, on defense, choose what they would like the gender ratio to be, and that's a fantastic use of the new rule. Just how we'd hoped it would be used.
Thanks, Ruben. Providing a tactical choice for the coaching staff.
Now for a quick weather update. The wind right now is south-southwest, 30 kilometres an hour, and it is 23 degrees, a lot cooler than it's been earlier in the week in Perth. It's going to make these conditions a little bit difficult.
And the GB team will have a tough task now as the wind really picks up, going right to left and slightly towards the camera. These are tough conditions to work the disc through a zone in, as Lewis has the disc in his hands. Lewis, another one of the returners from the 2015 under-24s team. He's also tried his hand at coaching, leading the Reading team from Scotland to a European Championships. And that's a hammer over the top of the wall, opening up some space. But Great Britain now moving it quickly. And they'll have to go sideways. And Lewis again working hard. Not a lot of options, this Australian zone stifling the Great Britain free-flowing offense that we saw earlier. Forcing a difficult shot over the wall that Coleman gets a finger on and forces to the turf.
Australia will get another chance for another break. Quick shout out on the stream. Happy birthday to Christopher Rabber from Melbourne. As the Aussies get another chance with Coleman with the disc. Oh, great grab there from Suzuki. And there's been a pick in the stack, indicated by our favourite hand signal, sun's out, guns out.
Indeed it is. Suzuki, a product of Canberra, Australia's capital on the East Coast, playing her ultimate predominantly with the F-Troop mixed team. They've had some significant success in their young life. It's a relatively new club, only in its second year and performing well this year at Mixed Nationals in Australia. She's been a leader of that team from the start, and she brings her leadership to the Australian Blue Bottles as one of their captains. As GB now heading into the wind. Koo with the disc. Moves it to Palmer in the centre. She'll act as the pivot in this point as they reach over the top for Koo, but a little too far for his bidding attempt.
A little bit too much weak fix this morning, maybe. Australia getting another crack at that downwind break. Let's see if Gemma Coleman can put her trick shots to good use. Get us a good downwind shot. Shout out to Gemma Coleman, number 24 on Facebook. Go give her a like. She'll appreciate that. She'll use some roly-polies for you. Blue Bottles trying to get off the sideline. Centering it now. Lots of options downfield. Moving it really nicely through this match defense. Tran with the disc.
And a little miscommunication, and it's picked up by Palmer, who read it like a book. And the British will shoot deep, and it will hang, and it will hang, as Lewis's throw is caught by the wind, and Vernon goes too early. But Coleman's there to clean up the scraps.
We had 3 Australian players surrounding that one GB player. He was going to be very lucky to bring that one down, Mr. Denston. We have Josh Lipari from Melbourne pick up the disc. He's a product of the Chile Ultimate Club, based in Victoria. Considers his options, trying to get off a tough mark. Coleman dumping off. Tran. Swing forward to Lipari. And he sends a huge backhand. He's got a couple players deep. Oh, and even Vernon's height can't get there in time. Oh, and he gets it! Catch your D's, man!
Incredible effort by Michael Vernon to keep his wits about him, as Andy Lewis got a hand on it first, but Vernon able to regather after a second or third attempt.
Oh, there has been a call on the field.
And it's somewhat unclear as to what has happened, but Rubenberg will provide us with an opportunity for some clarification.
Obviously got a lot of bubbles. The issue I have is at the moment you gain sustained control of the disc. The disc is on the grass. So it's upright and you catch. So I feel like the disc can hit the floor before you had sustained control. About 20 meters away, I don't have the best vision, obviously.
Okay.
I was challenged by the fact that your control looked like it came after contact with the floor.
Okay. All I can say is I think my control was 100% before I hit the ground. Like, obviously momentum was towards the ground.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I can't say 100%, 90% sure. I had it before the ground.
Do you think it's worth asking the advisor just for their opinion?
If you look at me, I can tell you that it was really close, and I could not give you a definitive answer from where I was.
I'm not entirely sure what's the deal. Am I allowed to contest your call?
You definitely can, and you can say that you thought it was it was unclear what happened, and if it's unclear, it just goes back to the throw.
So unless any of my teammates have a chance...
There's someone on the sideline, I don't know if they're... Okay. That's right.
In that case, I think I'd like to contest your up call, simply because there's...
No, you call down, he's going to contest.
Okay, yeah, that way around. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Ruben.
Where it was when it was thrown. Everyone go back to where you...
Thanks for that, Ruben. So the British team feeling like Vernon not able to gain control of a non-spinning disc until it had contacted the ground. Vernon believing he had control before making contact with the grass. And as sometimes happens in the moment, it's difficult to tell exactly what occurred, and the disc will go back as the call is contested.
Disc is going back quite a distance as Josh Lipari sent that huck from roughly around the brick mark. Huge distance gained on that. And that would have been a huge opportunity if Australia got that break, but they still would get another opportunity. That is the great thing about Ultimate, is that if two players can't decide on the outcome of a call, the play just goes back, just goes as if that situation never happened.
That's absolutely right, Katie. The intention of the rules of Ultimate is to allow play to resume or continue as if there had never been a foul or otherwise. I think the Australian coaching staff, despite the potential positive outcome of that previous play, will be happy that they'll get that one back. Obviously, with Andy Lewis getting a hand on it, it's not a high percentage play. And the Australians now looking to play small ball through this GB defence.
Yes, we've got lots of swings here as Australia works through the zone, particularly through Lipari, Tran and Coleman, but they're getting down the sideline now. They're doing lots of dishes, made huge grounds. Coleman with the disc. Oh, she sends a huge flick over to Vernon. Can he reel it in this time? And it goes out. It's a little too much swing backs for Coleman, maybe.
Yeah, I think the wind playing a part in that one. Obviously, when you're throwing with the wind at your back, it's very easy to throw too far and put too much spice on it, especially when you show the underside of the disc to the brunt of the wind. Often gets carried away, as it did there, out the back of the end zone. And it will be brought back in by the GB team. And they'll look to work it back upfield by Andrew Boxall. Boxall, one of the key O-line handlers on this team. Expect to see him get a lot of the disc, especially in this upwind direction. They'll be looking to rely on his full toolbox of throws and his fine finesse and control in these tricky conditions. Speaking to the coaches earlier, I asked them how they felt their team was handling these conditions and was it something they'd experienced before. And they said, obviously the heat, a little unusual for them, but the wind, something they were well used to, but not there. And Australia have the disc.
Great run through there, D there from Caitlin Grange. Australia just knocking on the doorstep. Vernon with the disc, dishing with Coleman, back to Vernon. Vernon want to dump, potentially be a receiver here, but no, goes into the hands of Maya Suzuki, the captain. Australia have brought in another break and they go up 4-3.
That's 3 in a row for the Australians. So often in these upwind down games, we've said it 1,000 times, if you get the upwind break, much easier to convert it into a second break in a row and begin a D roll, gain some momentum, and they do that just there as we saw Maya Suzuki securing that one. Safe hands.
Shout out to anybody who's watching us on the live stream right now, whether you be in Britain where it's early in the morning or other parts of Australia or even anywhere else in the world. Give us a comment, let us know where you're tuning in from, who you want us to see us talk to, or if you've got any questions. Steph Meyer on the ground. Steph Meyer, she just gave me the look from pronouncing her surname. Steph Meyer is monitoring the live stream and she will keep an eye if there's anything interesting.
She will indeed. Something that is very interesting is this game before us. It's 4-3, apologies. The Australians leading for the first time this game. We've seen throughout this tournament that momentum can play a big part in how these games play out. The GB feeling like the momentum was with them before this game. I know that this morning they played against Denmark, coming away with an emphatic victory, 15-4. And they said that left them in a great state of mind heading into the match this afternoon. Feeling like they were playing well. Their connections were coming off. Their lines were clicking. And they'll be looking to translate that success this morning into some more success this afternoon as we get a bit of discussion between Francois from the Australian team and the British thrower. And now Hodgett getting involved.
All uncontested. Uncontested? Uncontested. We all good?
Yeah, all good.
Andy, Ali.
Hodgett immediately shooting deep with the big outside in forehand. De Holland is underneath it, but it's cleaned up from behind. An incredible bidding effort from GB, but there will be discussion on whether he got his fingertips underneath it. Did he dig it out? It's a little unclear, and we'll have some bit of discussion.
I've got my left hand under it. If it's going to land like this, there's absolutely no way I can scoop underneath that.
You're talking to him, not to me.
I'd like to hear, like, yeah, because I'm not like saying definitely didn't get it, but I'm just not certain you get it. If that's, yeah, if can we pass it? Is that right?
It was really close. There's no way I can tell from all the way over there how close that was. It was really close.
For me, it's the fact that, obviously, as you saw it coming over, it's going like this.
Yeah.
You saw it came out of my left hand, and you saw I caught it like this.
It's also
It's rolling true, but I'm not going to be able to stick my fingers under like that.
So you've given your perspective?
I don't feel that we're actually fully going, like, yeah.
So you're calling down, and you're contesting?
On the footage, it looks like it's down.
Okay?
That's really bad, okay.
So,
I'm not appreciative.
so it sounds like it's going to be contested then?
I'm not appreciative getting involved, but I'm going to say it's not goal. If the footage does say it's down, then it's down.
Yeah. He can ask his side. He can ask sideline for perspective.
Yeah, if you, I'll just,
So what's the call?
I'm happy, yeah. If he reckons it's down, yeah. We can send it back if you like. If you think you've got it, like, I'm happy to send it back. No goal. Thank you.
Down?
Thanks, Ruben. That's an excellent display of spirit. After a bit of a discussion, the British player agreeing to not contest that down call. It was an incredible effort nonetheless by Andy Turner. Incredible reactions as well. Diving underneath that one, almost getting his fingertips there.
We have Robertson to pick up. Oh, and an early turnover there from Francois.
And now the Australians have a short field, the British have a short field opportunity, and they'll go back to the same player a second time as Andy Turner will not be denied, securing that one well above his head. And we'll head down to the sideline with Steph Ma for another perspective.
Hey there, just on the live chat on YouTube, a lot of people having some opinions about that last call. From the camera angles, it looks like a lot of people, it's pretty contentious, like down, down, up, 100% up. Someone says down, down, that it's down. Ruben got in there and had a little chat to everybody that figured it out. It looks like, I don't know, halfway through Ruben's discussion, some people online thinking that it was down as well and being commended on good spirit. Well done for good spirit by Great Britain is what some people online say.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Steph. Good to have the insight and people tuning in at home, throwing in their opinions. Always good for a bit of chatter and recognition of great spirit as well.
It is indeed. We'd love for you to all stay engaged and get involved. Thank you very much for joining us as we're coming to you live from beautiful Perth in Western Australia. We're very lucky to have these lovely grounds and facilities at our disposal all week long. We're at the UWA Sports Park. I've spoken to a number of players who've competed at a number of world championships, and they say these are some of the most well-maintained and preserved facilities that they've had the pleasure of competing at. And the scores are now level at 4 apiece as Gus McDonald picks up the disc.
He swings to Kate Robertson. Australia's juniors wrapped in 2016 in Poland. Oh, we get an early movement from Bell, Prodovino. Australia working through their female players, and there's been a pick in the stack. Looking pretty cluttered at the moment.
Gus McDonald actually today playing his first game after being concussed earlier in the week. He's passed the concussion test this morning and is now ready to rumble. He said he was extremely keen to get back on the field. He's another player who's competed in the green and gold at the juniors level as they find Michael Vernon ruling the skies in the end zone.
Call him Big Woody because he is tall as a tree. Reeling that great one in with such elegance. Australia extend their lead, 5-4.
It was lovely play from them. It's the second time that Michael Vernon has provided the outlet for this Blue Bottles team.
And great put there from Abby Dawson, also out of Australia's capital, Canberra.
Indeed, I've had the pleasure of playing with Abby Dawson. She's incredibly quick and uses her pace to great effect. And we saw there also not willing to unleash one towards the end zone. And this time she was rewarded. There are a number of Canberra players on this Blue Bottles team. A couple of them patrolling the sidelines this week as they were injured in the lead up to this tournament. Manambi Weir and Claire Bartram, unfortunately, both injured. Manambi Weir doing his hamstring earlier in December, and Bartram suffering a stress fracture to the head of her femur. Something we never like to hear about, as she will spend some significant time on the sidelines. But I know both contributing to their team nonetheless with their voice and with their passion, as the GB team will play offense downwind.
Yeah, so we get a stifling pull around the brick mark.
And the Australians coming down in zone defense again, forcing the GB players to work it sideways. And there we see Rebecca Palmer not able to hold on in these tricky conditions, making the disc bubble around.
We have Trong to pick up. Wanting to move the disc quickly. He does get it moving quickly, but nowhere near his player. GB with another chance to equalise.
Perhaps forcing that one a little bit, getting a little bit feverish around the end zone. We sometimes see that among players as Boxall, Koo and Lewis working it between the three of them. There's not a lot of movement downfield, and a turnover.
May have been an out call as he just dropped that cold. It looked intentional, so may have just been realising that his foot was on the line. Trying with the disc, trying to get it off that sideline. Not wanting to risk the same mistake that GB made. Centering the disc round. To Grange. Sends it up the line. The flick to Dawson. She finds the inside throw to Suzuki.
And that's the Canberra connection we've been talking about. All three of those players, natives of Canberra, playing their ultimate frisbee there together. And you can see that chemistry paying off with a series of quick passes, securing the Australians another vital upwind opportunity, taking the score to 6-4, extending that lead to 2. Interestingly enough, before this game, the GB team saying they felt like they had an advantage in the women half of their roster, saying they were looking to exploit that, but the Australian women responding wonderfully there, and the GB team has called a timeout.
And we're seeing an immense difference in the energy of the two teams. Australia just having a huge chant in the chair, excited about the double break they just got over GB. GB just having a quiet, focused circle, probably just trying to refocus and find what they need to do next to find another gear and equalise the scores again.
It is indeed the question before them now. How will they respond? How will they make up their difference? It's probably also a perfect opportunity to talk about our wonderful sponsors, Emma and Tom's. They've been providing delicious juices and smoothies and snacks for all the volunteers and for the commentary team all week. I know I've been enjoying them. I know you have as well, Katie.
Oh, definitely. I've been sick a little this week, so their Radical Action smoothie has been a favourite of mine.
They've been keeping us well fueled, so do get around them if you can. Use their hashtag. Look after yourself on all your social media activity.
We have Steph Ma coming up to our box. She tells us never mind.
And now the Australians coming out on defense again, heading downwind. The question will be, how did GB respond to this early deficit? We've seen that no lead is safe at this tournament. The Blue Bottles demonstrating that in incredible fashion in the opener of this tournament, jumping out to a 7-1 lead before that being reeled back in by India. So they'll know that there's no excuse for taking the foot off the gas and that they'll have to play all the way to 15 if they want to secure this one and put it in the history books and secure themselves a ticket to the semi-finals.
Definitely, and Australia coming out on defense again. The downwind pull. GB will have to work their way through the wind to get this next score. Huge curving pull from Mark Wee, captain.
The disc in the hands of Katie Flight. One of the most experienced players on this team. Began playing in the GB blue and white colours when she was only 11, competing at the under-17 European Championships at the tender age of 11, showing incredible ability, and she'll bring that decade of experience to the team now, but it bobbles through the hands of Will Be, the Spirit captain.
Australia moving it very quickly down this field, moving it through the width. We have Sophie Bell from Geelong, moving to Robertson. Great Vic connection, thinking about her options. Getting some swinging action through the handlers, making sure they only move it downfield when they're comfortable. Oh, and there's been a bit of a collision in the stack. A couple of players on the ground, having the Australian physio immediately coming over, and Ruben coming in to give us some audio.
Doesn't look good. Both players clutching at their heads, and they're not doing it to signal injury. I think it's doing because that's where the impact occurred. Never a good sign when players clutching their heads as they're receiving the medical care that they need. Both teams' physios taking extra precautions due to the risk of spinal or neck-related injuries, something we never want to see for any player.
Definitely not. And there's been a number of injuries on this Australian team so far, and it's something that is an unfortunate reality of high-level sport. You put your body in the line and you're going to get some fortunate collisions and injuries. One of the questions that we've had on the live stream was asking if, number one, Thomas Della, Spirit captain, is he injured as he hasn't been on the field this game? I do know the answer to that. I had a chat with him yesterday and he has injured his knees. He'll be sitting this one out just to make sure that he's in tip-top condition before he plays again.
Having said that, he does appear to be cleated up and patrolling the sidelines. I don't think he's been on yet, but you never know. He has got his cleats on. I can see him. I'm unsure whether that's out of sympathy and in line with the rest of his team, or if it's out of a genuine intent to join the rest of his teammates on the field at some point, but we will keep you updated.
We have a number of substitutions from both teams. 2 Australian players and 1 GB player coming off.
But the good news is neither of them appear to have any serious neck or spinal injury, which is obviously a great sign, something we're very happy about. And they'll be brought back on. And speaking of, Thomas Della takes the field to replace the injured Mark Wee. There's your answer. He's back, the big man, back in action in the distinctive pink cleats. Look for him to drop some bombs as he has been doing all weekend and all week long.
Big man from Bansale.
And now Alexis Long with the disc. Lex, as he's affectionately known among his team, played under 24 men in 2015, but has chosen to play mixed this cycle, saying that he feels like mixed is the future of the sport. Not because he thinks it's any better or any worse than the single genders, simply that it's a unique aspect of the sport. And
you guys ready? Uncontested?
It is something that will set it apart
keep it rolling
in its ongoing quest for greater coverage and reach. And he wants to be part of that process, bringing Ultimate to as many people as possible around the world. As he regains the disc, moves it across the field to McNeil. We can give you an update on Thomas Della. He's looking fighting fit with a great layout block. Any questions about his ability to compete have been answered. And Australia will have the disc.
We have teammate Kate Robertson picking it up on the far sideline. She'll want to move it off quickly. She'll want to get it off that danger zone. And she dumps Francis. And there's the man himself. Moving it down. We've got Vino in the end there, having a one-on-one with Flight, but it goes out on a bit of a flight in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, these tricky conditions proving tricky for everyone. Unfortunately, not able to hit their target every time on the chest. And now Long will bring the disc back into action. We can give you a quick score update from one of the other mixed quarterfinals on the field behind us. The USA leading Singapore 7-2. Obviously the winner of this game in front of us will play the winner of Japan and Germany in a semi-final. Australia have a long history of meeting Great Britain in quarterfinals across a number of divisions. In 2016, the Australian men's Dingoes team beat Great Britain in the quarterfinal at WU24UC in London. In 2012 and 2008, however, GB got the upper hand of those matches. So we'll see which way this one falls as Della has the disc.
And he finds Vino in the end zone. But there has been a travel called on Della. Getting a little bit too eager, wants to go for a run. Now, Miriam Vino, the receiver on that, is the older sister of Ingrid Vino, who plays for the Australian women's team, the Stingrays. Another example of great family action in Ultimate.
And this GB team, also an example of great family action, having a lovely goal there from the Aussies. Through traffic and onto the chest
of Kate Robertson, Spirit Captain.
And that extends the Australian lead to 7-4. They're on a roll now. And the GB team looking a little flat. They haven't been able to find an answer. We do also have an update. Oscar Modiano is seeing the physio now to receive some treatment for his head. We're unsure exactly the extent of that, but we'll be trying to provide updates on him and Marquis following their collision earlier. Obviously, we never like to see players injured.
Now we're on the line, we'll have a chance to have a chat about some of the other live stream questions that we've had. One of them was asking how tall Michael Vernon is. If you didn't hear that, he is 6'6".
He is a large man, there's no doubt about it. We've seen that height on display already a couple of times this game.
Another question we have from Mikey Hatfield. He said, Max, tell us more about beetroot nuts.
Thanks, Mikey. Great to see some support from the Canberra and ex-Canberra crew on the stream. I definitely have been loving the beetroot nuts being provided by Emma and Tom's. Each packet has the equivalent of 13 grams of real beetroot, so I would highly recommend them for getting your daily dose of vegetables. And Rebecca Palmer's had her dose as she launches that one out the back of the end zone. But as we've seen before, easy to overthrow when heading downwind. And the Australians will have the disc, and they'll have to go the full 70 yards into the teeth of the breeze. The GB defense now setting itself in a zone defensive look. They'll have one on the mark, 3 in a cup, 2 wings and a deep. In Australia, this defense is known as a pommy, and you can see why the English employing it here to great effect.
A little bit of contact on the mark there with Trong. He shakes it off, there's no stoppage. Swinging around to Coleman. Back to Chong. JB really pressuring them on the sideline, but Australia finding the swings, finding Suzuki. Chong just trying to find that gap, moving it to the sideline. Being patient with their options there. They find some over the top action. Coleman fakes. It dumps to Trong and he fakes. Doesn't send it, playing it nice and safe here. Wise option with this wind. Swinging it back around again. Not afraid to lose some ground in order to get the safer throw off. Oh, and we get the hammer up finally. Lovely receiving there. Australia really getting some momentum now. Swinging it back around. Trong Suzuki. Big man Vernon. Pop it in from the wing. Let's provide more options. Oh, swinging over the top. Safe in Lipari's hands though. Thinks about sending it long. Swings it back around to Coleman. Lots of noise from the sideline. Oh, and there's been a down call on Trong. Ruben will jump in to see if we can get some audio in this discussion.
It looked like the edge that was this on this side was on the down. Okay, yeah. No problem.
Retracted.
Down call's being retracted by Devon. Great spirit.
That's an absolutely prime example of how the best possible resolution to a call can go. One person provides their perspective, the other provides theirs, and they agree on what happened. And they reach deep for Abby Dawson! Unable to dig that one out. She's been a significant part of their offense, providing a large target as the GB responding kind with a long shot. And Vernon doing his job in guarding the skies, being sure to pay attention after the first bubble. He's been punished on that before and he's learned his lesson there. And Australians having to go the full distance again against this oppressive English zone.
Great to see a nice hug there from Vernon Lewis, showing great spirit. Oh, huge layup bid again from Dawson, but she can't reel that one in. GB get another chance to crack it.
Yeah, more lays than a Hawaiian Kentucky tour from her. She's been going aerial all over the place, using her athleticism to reel in some wayward throws in these tricky conditions. And GB will look to play a little more conservatively, perhaps, as Boxall has the disc and finds Palmer. I was chatting to their captain Long earlier today and he said their natural game is to boost it long, but these windy conditions can hamper that style, as we see Lewis do a good job of keeping that disc in the field. And they'll now swing it across, willing to play patient this close to the end zone. The downfield area looking pretty static for both teams. And now the scuba over the top is effective as it finds its target in Charlie Daffin. The captain providing the outlet that offense needed. And the British steady the ship and stop the bleeding. And they bring it to 7-5, not willing to let Australia take half that easily.
Australia now coming downwind on offense, so they'll get a chance at an easy attempt at taking half. That being said, from what we're seeing from the GB defense so far, it's not going to be 100% easy. The Blue Ballers still need to fight for it.
And we'll take this opportunity to head down to the sideline with our sideline correspondent, Steph Ma.
Hey, g'day. There was just a couple of notes on some of the players that were injured. I've had a little chat with some of the physios and sports medic staff, and Oscar Moriano from GB, he'll probably come back on shortly. He appreciates all the support from back home online. He had a head injury. He's sitting on the sideline with an ice pack just before when I saw him, but he's keen to get back on. And Mark Wee had a minor head injury. It was no concussion. He got tested by the Australian physio and he's fine. He's feeling good. And then Fraser had a wrist injury, tested by GB Medic, but he's going to come back on. Looks good.
Thanks, Steph. And it's great to hear that all the players are fighting fit and will be back on the field soon, as there's plenty of contact on that bid by Fraser McDonald. I don't think he'll have any qualms with not contesting that foul call. Interesting fact about Fraser, speaking of family connections earlier, him and Gus McDonald on the Australian team are actually second cousins, and they're now playing against each other in a bit of a family feud between those two. We'll see how they match up.
Speaking of Gus McDonald, he currently has the disc. Swinging it round between him and Robertson.
It's great to see that his earlier concussion that he had this week hasn't held him back from playing this game.
Oh, and a great grab there from Gus for a bit of tumble. Australia working really well to move the disc up. And there has been a call. McDonald's having a little bit of a chat. Berg coming in to see if he's needed.
Who's got the foul? Retracted? No call, it's retracted. Disc is staying there. Goal count.
And it looks like Francis will bring the disc back in at about midfield.
Francis moving the disc over to Lau. And there's been a huge layout bid there from GB, Edward Simpson.
Yeah, Ed Simpson playing a season with Oregon State in the US and bringing that physicality and athleticism to this game right now, showing his potency as a defender as the GB team reaches deep. Gus McDonald's underneath it, and despite an incredibly athletic bid by the offensive player who has stayed on the ground,
call on the throw,
unable to complete. Simpson looking for double happiness. Instead, sadness as he'll call.
What's the call here? Uncontested foul. Called by the thrower. So the players should go back to where they were when the pass was thrown. If you want to get those players to move back, that would be right, but they should be where they were when it was thrown.
As we heard from Rubenberg's mic there was a foul called on the throw. There was an injury substitution for the GB player, but players will reset to where they were when the original huck went up.
And now they have another opportunity as Koo pulls that one down despite the pressure coming from McDonald. And GB get the upwinder. This is game on. 7-6 to Australia, but momentum with the British outfit. The GB team saying that this week has been a bit of an emotional roller coaster and that their mental fortitude has been tested, and they're showing their resilience now as they continue to push despite the deficit.
Steph has brought over a couple of the YouTube comments to us. We've been told to shout out to Hodges' dog, Mitchell. Mitchell, I'm sure you're a very good boy. Another comment has been asking, what is up with my accent? Max, what is up with my accent?
One of the true mysteries of the universe, Katie. I'm not sure if we'll be able to answer it in just one live stream. Could take longer than that.
Steph is now telling us to shout out to WA Ultimate, Sublime. Thank you, WA local Ultimate clubs and associations. We appreciate your support, especially for those who have been coming down and volunteering. Plenty of WA locals from the Ultimate scene. Speaking of which, let's get back to the game.
And the disc is fielded, and Fraser McDonald puts in a bid, but not able to get in between that one.
Australia working it through the zone. Lots of traffic. Chong has a bit of a fumble with the disc there, and there's another down call. Just loves those low grabs. Ruben's coming in, some audio.
See if we can get a look at it on this replay.
No, you're fine.
Bit of a bubble. It's difficult to see from that angle.
Yes.
If it touched the ground, it was behind his foot. But it's very,
So
very
you've
close.
called it down. Yeah. Is there any other perspective to give for that?
I was behind when I shot this before you had
Yep.
Are we all happy to have doing so?
I'm just an advisor, and it was too many legs in the way from where I was. Yeah. You definitely can ask the sideline. You want to be quick about it if you want to do that, I think. Anyone have a good view? No. It's not clear. Sounds like it's unclear or contested. Yep. Send it all the way back there.
Thanks, Ruben. That's another great example of the game advisor not necessarily providing a decisive opinion, but guiding the decision-making process. And that's what we really love to see. The players making the decision in a respectful and spirited way, which is exactly what happened there. So thank you very much to Ruben for his great work.
The disc is back with Lipari. Australia getting another attempt to crack through this zone. Coleman near the sideline. She'll want to get it off and center it, and she does to Lipari, and he finds a swing through to Suzuki. Finds big man Vernon. Oh, just a bit of a miscatch there from Suzuki, dropping the disc, giving GB a chance to equalise.
And Long picks up and immediately breaks the mark. It's a lovely backhand, and another backhand from McDonald. He's got a diving Duncan Webster, who's not able to reel it in, unfortunately.
Another great D-dive there from Josh Lipari.
Webster, also a black belt in Taekwondo, so he's talented in multiple athletic endeavours, showing his universal ability in that diving attempt, as he did earlier this week in their universal win versus Germany. He took an incredible pack grab on the final point over a number of big German lads to secure that one for the British team. And it goes through the hands of Suzuki again. 2 cold drops this point could prove crucial. Long on the doorstep. Here's an open player. Reaches for Webster again, who goes aerial again, and unable to secure that one.
Even with Webster's length, he can't get that one. It was just too wide for him. Because there's been a call though. Ruben coming in to give us some insight.
Pick call, but saying it didn't affect, so the turnover standing, is that correct? Yes?
Great example of spirit from Long there.
And we can keep you updated on that US-Singapore quarterfinal happening behind us. USA have taken half and then scored straight out of it to be up 9-2 as they look to run away with that one.
And back to this game. Huge hammer over the cup from Maki Trong.
And a great defensive effort by Webster, but regathered by Grange.
Centre into Coleman. Back to Vernon. GB players putting their body on the line.
3 layouts in a row. GB bidding on everything right now.
They want to equalise so badly, but Australia retaining this disc. Vernon. Back to Trong. Lots of traffic here. Finds a gap to Coleman. Coleman fakes. Enough Cellar House. And another hammer! Lipari with the goal! Australia take half, 8-6.
Incredible defensive stand by the GB team. Like a school of salmon swimming upstream. They were laying out left, right and centre, exploding horizontally in an attempt to get a block, but it was not to be, as the Australian team stayed cool under pressure, eventually hitting their man over the top with the hammer to Lipari. And he provided safe hands in these trying conditions. As we said, that's half for the Australians, 8-6. They'll be happy with that. This game is not over. GB well within striking distance. We see again Webster's great defensive effort and Grange's great heads-up awareness to keep that one alive.
Safe swinging.
1 bid, 2 bid.
And 3 bids.
Australia playing right on the edge of their envelope, pushing the limits, and we'll head down in a few moments after we've had a chance to look at some replays for an interview with the Australian coach, Max Howden. Don't go anywhere, stay tuned for that.
I'm going to hold the microphone.
That's fine, yeah, I'm used to it.
Vibing on myself, I can't trust fake energy. Yeah, I'm hella ill, I swear that it's my destiny. Kamikaze, catching bodies, cause it kage, what you mean? Right, yeah, right, yeah, okay. Vibing on myself, I can't trust fake energy. Yeah, I'm hella ill, I swear that it's my destiny. Kamikaze, catching bodies, cause it kage, what you mean? Right, yeah, right, yeah. Hey, young dude with a nice page. On the port through, that's the eye fade. Got things to do, hands screw, brain food, that dude send nudes over my space. Face root clean on some water, ayy. Shorty pump spot, that's your daughter, ayy. So I'm in the mood like skirt, but she wanna flirt. After she heard, now I'm the dude that she's after. Cannot blame her, I'm dapper. How come no one was feeling me back when I was a rapper? Back when Roshi was master, coming hard on the dicker. Please don't mess up my figures, I'm counting. Don't you stop it, yeah. I'm seeing changes, but I haven't even started, yeah. Get low and pop it, yeah. And don't you stop it, yeah. I'm feeling different, but because I'm low-key popping, yeah. Vibing on myself, I can't trust fake energy. Yeah, I'm hella ill, I swear that it's my destiny. Kamikaze, catching bodies, cause it kage, what you mean? Yeah, right, yeah, okay. Vibing on myself, I can't trust fake energy. Yeah, I'm hella ill, I swear that it's my destiny. Kamikaze, catching bodies, cause it kage, what you mean? Right, yeah, right, yeah.
Ultimate Championships here in beautiful Perth, Western Australia. we're bringing you the Ultimate Frisbee Ashes between Great Britain and Australia. The pool coming from the Australians, heading upwind. The GB team looking to play downwind offense to open this second half as the disc is in the hands of Palmer. And the GB team having to work through this stifling Australian zone that's caused them troubles already this match. That's an ambitious shot from Denniston, and it doesn't connect.
Very tricky shot to get off that inside break, but the wind punishing it further. Australia getting another crack to extend their lead. Robertson crowded by 4 GB players, calling double team on them. Gets it moving regardless. McDonald, Francois. Being really patient, this Australian team, really thinking about their options. Oh, huge leaping bit from McDonald, but he can't reel that one down with the one-handed grab. GB getting another chance at offense.
Seeing the wind there caused a little bit of trouble for McDonald as it caused the disc to suddenly rise as it approached him. He did well to still get a hand to it. As GB over the top, and that one bounces out of the hands of Lewis.
That is a punishing shot for GP, bringing Australia even closer to the end zone. Robertson. Oh, and there's been a pick in the stack. Francois still going for a huge layout bid. Make sure that it just stays live.
I imagine in this situation, it will be a case of the pick call didn't affect the play, as both Francois from Australia and his opposite number working hard throughout that.
And exactly as you said, Max, the pick did not affect play. The stack just tidied themselves up. Australia retaining possession. We have Francis considering his options. There's been another pick in the say. Francois doing another layout grab on that, but this time pick did affect the play, so it will go back to Francis. Ribbon's going to come in for a chat as we get a replay of that.
Yeah, but I stopped because I've had to run through the defender. 2 or 3 yards, or maybe you didn't have more than that. Thanks. Yeah, that's great.
We all good? Still count. What's the still count?
7.
After a pick, it should be maximum 6. Okay.
The disc will be brought back in on 6, and there's an immediate violation call. And they'll have to do it again. San Francois providing the option a number of times this point when the going has got tricky.
We all good? Coming in at 6?
Ruben helping them facilitate, knowing when the disc is coming back in. Get a really low gross. Third time lucky for Francois. Another layout bid. Not afraid to put his body on the line. And Australia extend their lead, 9-6.
Absolutely no hesitation from Francois to get off his feet that point, doing it a number of times to keep possession alive. And we can get to look at his bids again. He provided the outlet when they need it a number of times. And the rules of the game taking it back a number of times. In the end, he would not be denied. Making the incisive, decisive layout for the nice throw from Francis, showing his ambidexterity and throwing that offhanded shot.
We're going to cross down to the sideline now of Steph Marsh. She has got Australian coach Max Haldon answer a couple of questions.
G'day, I've got Max Haldon here. I was just wondering if you could offer a little insight into how the game's been going so far. How do you think Australia is feeling coming out into the second half?
Well, hopefully you can see from that first point of the half, we are hyped up, ready to go, representing our country. The big thing, I mean, we had a tough loss against India on this pitch. A lot of people would have watched that game. Thanks to all the supporters back home, by the way, but we're ready to really put in a full game of effort and really work this whole one out.
Great. I was wondering what you said to some of the players in that little halftime break. How do you think you'll capitalise?
we're not going to change anything, right? Just going to keep putting in effort and intensity, trust the plan, and if the plan works, then hell yeah, we're going through to semi-finals, baby.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having a little chat, Max. Good luck for the rest of the game.
Thanks, Steph.
Thank you, Steph, and thank you, Max. Max Howden, a previous under-24 player, a blue bottle in the past, and now a blue bottle as a coach, as the British team look over the top of the cup and into the hands of Long. And the GB unit have work to do as they find a hole in the cup to McDonald. McDonald to Webster, back to McDonald.
That's a very crowded cut look from the Aussies. Obviously wanting to shut down those short options.
Putting a lot of pressure on the GB handlers as they have to move backwards in the end to keep the stall count resetting. No player allowed to hold the disc longer than 10 seconds, as counted by the mark. And they lose more ground as they work it, but their patience is admirable. McDonald now launches an outside in forehand. An incredible grab by Duncan Webster, showing his aerial capabilities with that athletic play.
That was a fantastic grab from Duncan, rightly so. He spikes it just to celebrate. That is just the play that GB needed to get them pumping and moving for the second half of the game.
That's right. And they narrow the gap back to 2, showing their ability to score upwind. It is the upwinders that can be decisive in these games, as they often translate back into downwinders. And GB will want to convert on this opportunity and reduce that gap to 1.
Australia now needing to work the disc upwind on offense, putting on a familiar line. This Blue Bottles team utilising a number of lines, which some team structures like to use. Sometimes they like to have offense, defense lines, or just lines that they can use in any situation. Some teams like to use a subbing group format. Do you have a preference for either of those, Max?
I think all of those different options come with their own disadvantages and advantages, of course. Having set lines allows specialisation, whereas I know the GB team has 3 lines that they're relatively flexible with, allowing them to adapt to different situations and react to what's working and what's not. As Australia playing offense upwind, demonstrate their versatility.
Oh, and there has been a call on Bell, perhaps a travel, as the disc gets returned to her.
Bell, a very experienced player. First pulling on the green and gold jersey back in 2010 with the Australian under-20s Terror team, and has spent some time in the States since. Back again for this campaign.
De Hollander from Council with the disc, who sends a huge flick huck in the hands of Robertson. Australia score upwind again. Fantastic work, fantastic connection. Robertson would be very happy with herself, usually not on that end of the disc, primarily plays as a handler for a variety of clubs, including Heads of State, my club from Melbourne, and also Monash University.
Both teams trading upwind blows. And we'll see who cracks under the pressure first. This game incredibly crucial for both these teams as it determines who will be in a semi-final. Likewise, in 40 minutes from now, we'll be bringing you the pre-quarter on the men's division between the USA and Canada. El Clasico. And it'll be a real barn burner as to the 2 North American powerhouses battle it out for a spot in the quarterfinals. Not a matchup people would have expected to occur so early in the format, but the Canadians dropping a game early to the Australians in pool play and paying the price now in this tricky pre-quarter matchup. So do stick around for that game after this one. But right now, Della launching a huge outside-in backhand pull that will knife into the ground for the GB offense to pick up and move swiftly up the field.
That was a huge spicy pull from Della.
And they find a hole in the cup that allows them to get moving. Long. He's been a steady, apologies, Hodgett. A nice play by Lewis to keep that one alive. Back to Hodgett. Zone offense has been the name of the game for both teams throughout this match. And now Turton with the disc, affectionately known as Turts to her friends and teammates. This British team has really emphasised the importance of playing for each other and with each other throughout their campaign. The team motto is together, and they say that it defines and directs everything that they do as a team. I even heard earlier while I was having lunch with them, cry from one of their players for a team bathroom break. It's that level of commitment and dedication and togetherness that they think exemplifies everything they do.
That's a little bit cute. Back to the action though. Australia on offense, moving this down really quickly. We have that killer combination of Francois. Oh, and there's been a D. GB with
and they look to immediately launch it, but the cool head of Hodgett prevails, and he's keen to work this one in as he directs traffic, expressing his frustration and passion with the rest of his teammates. Turton, forehands across field. She brings her WUGC experience to the fore, and eventually it is Hodgett who puts that one in for Great Britain. And these upwind offensive blows continue to be thrown by both teams, and the score is now 10-8. You hear the shout come from the sideline of the Australian team, echoing the words of the Australian ultimate frisbee legend Mike Neild, who has captained the Australian men's team. It's got to be now. It's got to be now. They recognise the significance of getting another one on the board at this stage in the game.
Meanwhile, you might hear in the background the GB team doing their defensive chant. I believe it is, when I root for the defense.
Indeed, supporting their defensive players in everything that they do, as Long launches a backhand pull down the field.
That is floaty. Bounces up to Trong. Manages to reel it in though. Moving between him and Maiolo. Trying to get it out of their own end zone. Lots of defensive pressure from GB. She puts a huge one out. Oh, we get a big layout bid. Fantastic energy from Lipari, moving it up the field. And there's been a call, injury call. Another GB player going down.
It looks like Webster clutching at his knee, clearly in some distress. It's never something we want to see, and that could prove a crucial loss for this GB outfit. He has played such a large role for this team. I'm not sure if we'll be able to get another look at what exactly happened.
You can see this on the stream now. Looks like he just tweaked his ankle. That does not look great.
No, it does not.
Or his knee. Definitely something in the lower limb area. Physio's coming on to assist.
The Australian physio also heading out there. Chris Stoddard offering his support. No team wants to see anyone injured, regardless of who they play for. And Webster will be helped off the field by the medical staff and his teammates. The disc will remain in the hands of Michael Vernon.
Demonstration of the great spirit in this game. Players from both teams whapping him off. This is back in action though with Vernon. Swinging to Maiolo. Carefully considers her options. Pulls it out in front. Suzuki wants that flick. Goes off the backhand to Vino. She fakes. She sends it up anyway to Suzuki. She's going to send it long. She's going to... No, she wants to play it safe. She wants to dump. Swings it round. Lipari sends it upfield. There's huge depth on this Australian roster. Any of them able to throw with great ease. Great rolling bid there, but there's been a travel called on Vernon. So just we'll go back to him as he does not contest. Suzuki's effort not in vain though. Always good to go for every disc, regardless of whether there's going to be a call or not.
Indeed it is.
This comes back in. Vernon go for the other shot. No, he goes after Trong. Trong meters out. Puts it out to Caitlin Grange. Australia maintaining their lead, going up 11-8.
Grange, a very dangerous player in the end zone. Nigh on unguardable when she's at her best, and she appears to be at that today. I know that earlier in the week she had some knee troubles, but she looks back to full pace and full speed and full agility, which is a scary prospect for any opposition. I've also seen her launch a couple of mean high-release forehands. We haven't seen one this game yet. Fingers crossed we get to see one later. She's a real threat.
Perhaps we'll get one going downwind. So it's a bit of a risky upwind throw.
It is, but I wouldn't put it past her. She's an aggressive thrower when she's got the disc, and it often reaps rewards. And this upwind scoring continues. You get the sense that the first team that blinks, the first team that gets broken now, will be unable to recover.
They have Mikey Lau with the pull. Haven't seen too much of Lau this game.
And GB, fine Boxall to Lewis. Back to Lewis. He has Turton, who will call a foul on the mark. Abby Dawson will have a bit of a chat with her about it. It appears uncontested. And the disc will be brought back in. Unfortunately, Turton's forehand too far, but McDonald will call a foul.
There's a discussion with Lau. Ruben coming in to give us some audio.
Retracted.
Retracted call from McDonald.
Great spirit from the GB team once again. From the replay, we could see that there was definitely some contact.
Often the question is, in those situations, did it affect as play resumes?
Murray with the disc. Swings it round to Lau. Oh, and he sends a huge backhand over. Might float out, and it does. But there has been a call on the throw, now indicating the foul symbol. Him and McDonald will have a discussion.
As we get another look at it. It's an ambitious shot, that fat side throw. I think it's a great one. On my first look, I didn't think there was a whole lot of contact, but obviously only the player on the field knows what he felt. It'll be up to them to make the decision.
I was watching downfield down there. I wasn't watching. Wasn't my job just then.
Should be our sideline for like 20 seconds and then just go outside? Anyone got an opinion?
I guess, I'm not an opinion, but it's a question whether it affected this, right? I think that's like the question you haven't had yet.
Well, I was trying to come through with my thing, with my throw, and your foot.
The three
That sounds good to me.
The three whistles indicating that time has expired and that the call is likely to be contested as there is no
Everyone should be
resolution
back where they
available.
were when it was thrown. By the rules.
Yeah, let's go.
Great audio insight there from Rubenberg, once again demonstrating his depth of knowledge as a game advisor. And it just goes back to Lau. Sends a flick this time. Over the head, bouncing back. But it's not too much for the 19-year-old Dennis Tran.
That's incredible. That's the third or fourth time this game that the Australians have recovered a disc after it was initially D'd by Great Britain. Catch your Ds should be the motto of this team. It's been too many times and too often that the Australians have capitalised on these mistakes. Go over the head, off the hands, and Tran only too happy to catch that one as we get a timeout call from Great Britain. Feels like they're doing everything right and yet not quite able to get themselves over the line. We'd like to thank everyone again who is joining us on this live stream. Keep your comments and your questions coming in. We have Steph Ma here doing her best to make sure they're all answered. If you want her to go find a specific player and have a chat to them and get their take on the game, please send in those requests. She'll do her best to meet them. If you have any questions about anything going on this week, fire them through as well. Don't forget to share this stream with your friends and with your family. Obviously, this is a great opportunity to watch some incredible ultimate coming to you from Perth, Western Australia.
Definitely, and on the home soil for the Australians as well. Though I should note that there are only a handful of players who hail from Western Australia. 2, to be specific, Francois and Vernon. 2 key players on this team, though. They've both been playing spectacularly this game.
Indeed, Michael Vernon has provided that release valve so often on this team. When the stall count gets high and the going gets tough, his height becomes a great bailout option. Often in these tricky conditions, things will float a little longer than intended. Discs that are meant to be straight to the chest will bubble upwards, and his height can become crucial. Likewise, Francois, we saw earlier, totally dominate a point when he has to, using his agility and speed in the small spaces around the disc to provide endless options to keep the offense churning.
And both of those players play for local Perth men's club Sublime, though I should just self-correct. Sublime have now extended themselves to be a mixed club as well, recently sending a team to the Australian Mixed Ultimate Championships.
Indeed, they're good friends and have played together a lot. Francois as well, an extremely experienced player, having played for Australia at the juniors and under 24 level previously, brings that experience to this game. And the Australians in a zone defense now, and GB heading downwind on offense with a 4-point deficit to make up. They have work to do. And there appears to be a call as Katie Flight not happy with the attention she's receiving from Francois. And they will discuss what exactly happened as the game advisors head on in to have a chat
Advisors. So what's...
It's just contact on the mic all the time.
Yeah. You should... Spirit captains should come together and have a chat, maybe in between points. Yep.
Okay, I was just asking, do you strongly believe it was a foul?
If you need to, you can call one of these and have a discussion about it.
If you strongly believe it was a foul. Hey, Andy! What was the foul?
Our hand signals have shown us that that's an uncontested foul. Flight and Francois having a bit of a disagreement about the level of contact in this game. Berg advising that Spirit captains can call a Spirit timeout if necessary if they feel that the level of contact is unacceptable.
And they reach deep. Rob de Holland is underneath it. And that will be a turnover. It is worth noting that Spirit timeouts are not a bad sign. They should be treated as a proactive option to avert any bad spirit or unwanted issues or concerns that may arise, as opposed to an option of last resort. As an emphatic D by Christopher Sun as he swats that to the ground.
Oh, and there's a bit of collision.
Plenty of contact there. The question will almost certainly be, what happened first, and did it affect?
Berg stepping in to give us some audio.
Very sure. So, if you want to contest it.
I think I'd like to contest it, that's it.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Go for offense now. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so,
The disc will be brought back in with Hodgett. Francois on the mark. As Australia transitions into a match defense. As Great Britain advances. And the GB converts on their opportunity in the front corner of the end zone.
Flight booked her ticket. She wants to come back.
Indeed. Great Britain not willing to roll over yet. At 12-9, they are certainly within striking distance. However, there is work that remains to be done for this team. They will have to find a way to score upwind again. And then break the Australian team once more. This might be another great chance for us to thank our friends down at Toyota Netherlands for their wonderful support for this tournament. They've been providing support vehicles, a number of Hiaces, Toyota Hiaces and Toyota Hiluxes. City Toyota Netherlands, your number one option when it comes to all your automotive needs. Do pay them a visit if you're around Perth now or in the future.
We've been told by our on-field reporter that Gemma Coleman, number 24, has fans watching on the field. How exciting. She is so loved. Really bringing up that hashtag brand. Blue Bottles back on the field on an offensive downwind point. Lipari sending it deep, sending it early. Trung wants it. He bought it. He accepted that delivery. Australia, an early answer to GB.
Making it look easy, the Australians. Just stringing a couple of passes together and putting that one in the end zone. Trong showing his pace, starting that point from the handler position and ending up catching the goal in the end zone on the end of a lovely put, showing his versatility and leaving Alexis Long in his wake. Great Britain will look to do something similar, I imagine. Quick points like that give your defense an opportunity to get back on the field and continue to build that pressure that wins games. The score is now 13-9 to Australia. Great Britain with plenty of work to do if they want to make this one into a real match.
Time cap.
And that's time cap, as signalled by Rubenberg, which means we will finish this point. We will add one to the highest score, and that will be our new target. If Australia score, it's game to 15. As per usual, if Britain score, it will be game to 14.
And as we always say, you have to get the final goal to win a game of Ultimate, so there's no hard time limit. GB, do you have a chance? Slim, but it's possible.
But it may have just slipped through the fingers of Andy Lewis as the disc hits the floor, and Australia with an upwind opportunity, 10 metres out.
Francois with the disc close in front of the end zone, but he opts to swing, move away from the defenders. Oh! And a push down throw from De Hollander as he streams off deep with his player. Gets the revenge D, runs through. Dished back to him. Great Britain scrambling to set up their zone. Well, they may be opting for a match defense. Australia with another chance to close out this game, get another point on the board. Oh, a low throw that Bell cannot reel in. GB with another chance.
As Lewis picks up, and he's looking to the skies again. Same option, same matchup, same result. No discussion, it's a turnover. GB looking to play a territory game.
Gilman pausing for a second, but then shaking his head, realising that De Hollander just simply got there first. Robertson with the disc with a huge mark on her. GB actually having time to set up a zone this time. Disc space being called, or potentially double team. Australia wanting to swing, get this off the sideline. Opting to move it up instead to Captain Wee. He's back on the field and he sends it. Pushes it down too early though.
And Boxall makes sure of it, and he'll pick it back up. Perhaps inject some calm into this Great Britain offense. Doesn't look like it though. Great Britain really playing the territory game now. The classic huck and D option being taken. Feeling like it's a better option to give the Aussies the disc down the other end of the field than risk a short field turnover.
Can we talk about that throw? That had some guts on it. Just too far for the receiver though. But imagine if there was a receiver on the end. That would have been a fantastic goal for GB.
Indeed, able to throw the full length of the field.
Australia back on offense zone, a really high floaty one. Abby Dawson able to reel that down. And there's been a call, a travel call, back on Trong.
What was the call? Travel?
On Francois.
Francois, thank you.
No.
What's the call from Australia? Sorry?
So +2 to travel off the school.
Are you asking if the rule is, do you add 2 because it's a travel?
Just asking if he agrees, yeah. I'm saying it's still 2, so you should be coming and stalling 3. Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that. Let's go.
Stalling 3? Okay.
Thanks for that. It was a travel call, and Francois will bring the disc back in. An immediate turnover. Great Britain with a short field opportunity here.
Their huck and zone strategy proving fruitful. Gain themselves the territories with Australia turning over in the short field.
Andrew Boxall picks up the disc, looking for an option that he likes, and can't find one. And there appears to be a call. Plenty of contact between Wee and Lewis.
Are we all good? What's the still count there?
It'll come in stall 5 with Boxall. We'll go back to Turton. Turton using a great length to go around the mark there. And that's an ambitious shot, but Boxall will make sure of it. Great Britain aren't done yet. They say this will be a game to 14. And we will be in the fight till the end. We aren't done yet. Andrew Boxall secures that one. And I'll continue to look for their ticket into the semi-finals, just as USA have booked theirs in a 15-5 win over Singapore.
They're now in the field behind us, queuing up for a cute combo team photo. I've seen a lot of those this tournament, just showing the testament of spirit and excitement about playing countries from the other side of the world.
This World Championship tournament, obviously an incredible opportunity to bring cultures together and bring players together from around the world, share some experiences and make friends, both on and off the field, that will persist well beyond this week. I know that from my experience at similar tournaments in the past, I've made great friendships that persist through to today, and I'm sure all of these players will be enjoying the same thing here. A big shout out also to Layla Denniston from her many fans on the live stream. Thank you for joining us. I'm sure she appreciates the support as you send your positive thoughts and vibes to her. As Hodgett launches the pool, and Australia will look to put this one in the history books.
Yeah, the pool full's relatively short. Trong with the pickup. Tilpari want to put this one in the bank. Finds Vernon. This line of familiar players getting used to working together. Owen, Trong puts through one of his known hammers, and Australia have scored. They win the game.
And that was it. Michael Vernon reeling in a overhead hammer as he did on the first point of this game. A lovely way to finish as we started. 24 points ago as Australia secure themselves a spot in the semi-final and in the top 4 of the World Under-24 Ultimate Championships. The Great Britain delegation is devastated. Their heads are down as they grasp each other in commiseration. The Australians obviously ecstatic with that result. Doing incredibly well to put that one away in trying conditions. They've had a tough tournament leading up to today. It hasn't been smooth sailing, but they have got it done when they needed to, as they did in this game. It wasn't pretty at times, but it works.
Now the Blue Bottles came away with silver in London in 2015. These bottles will be looking for some more bling to leave with this time.
Add to that trophy collection indeed. I think coming into this tournament, many people would have said on paper that perhaps this team lacked some of the star power that the 2015 roster did. But they're showing so far that it doesn't matter. They can get the job done regardless and find their way into the pointy end of the tournament, as they have done in wonderful fashion.
And the great thing about this Under-24s campaign is there is a huge amount of training that goes into it. These teams spend a lot of time bonding and building their offensive and defensive strategies and working on their skills. So even if they're unknowns at selection, by the end of this tournament, they can be worldwide names.
Indeed they can, as we are going live across the world. We thank you for joining us on this lovely Thursday afternoon, or whatever time it is, wherever you are. Do stick around. We've got a great match up next on this field. It'll be an incredible one to watch, as it is a matchup between the two North American powerhouses, USA and Canada, in the men's division.
Exciting stuff. We already saw the women's teams match up earlier this afternoon with USA taking the win. We had a couple of requests on the chat of that game asking when the men's division would be playing, so there you go. You're going to get to see it if you're still awake. If not, you can tune in the morning.
Indeed you can. We thank you very much for joining us. I've been Max Stenstrom.
And I've been Katie Locke. Have a great afternoon, morning, rest of your day. Enjoy and stick around.
Feel like it's high school, I know things. I'm shy at first, man. You know you're making my heart